Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. We're going to be talking about the 2024 REGROW Grant Program. I'm going to go over the program guidelines. I did mute everybody for now just so we can get through this. I have it recording so that way you can always revisit this session to hopefully answer questions that we may have missed, but feel free to add something into the chat or write down your questions as we're going in case I don't address it. You may have some specific questions that you'll want answered, and we can certainly talk about those at the end. I'm sharing right now my screen that has the web page with the REGROW grant information. Most of you have probably already seen that. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. My name is Jocelyn Hare McLaughlin. I am the fiscal coordinator for the Community and Economic Development Department. And I'm just helping to administrate this REGROW grant. The Community Relations Commission, which they provide insight and suggestions to the mayor and city council. They will be reviewing all of the applications that are received for the REGROW grant and scoring those. And today we'll walk through what all of that entails. Quickly, I will go ahead and I need to move this. Okay. So we are going to look at some of the grant guidelines we have. The REGROW grant was set up after the legalization of cannabis, and this is utilizing the 3% local sales tax that the city of Rockford receives on adult use cannabis retail sales. This year, we are increasing the number of quick deployment grants that we are providing. Last time we provided 6. This time we are providing 10. 10 quick deployment grants for up to $10,000. Tier 2 is 4 one-year grants of $50,000 and 2 two-year grants of $100,000. So tier 2, we will have another day where we're talking about that. That will open up November 12th. I'm going to scroll down because I think we did just add, or it will be updated shortly. Maybe I need to refresh my page. Yay, I refreshed. So tier 2 applications for the $50,000 and $100,000 grants will open November 12th at 8 a.m. and close December 2nd. So today we're talking about the tier 1 grants of $10,000. This is, well, let's go ahead and get started into some of the grant guidelines. I'm going to share that screen now. Most of you have also probably reviewed this as well. And scroll up a little bit. Sorry about that. So really, again, this grant program is to go towards the disproportionately impacted communities and the individuals and their families, especially communities of color, to help rectify the past harms that these disproportionately impacted communities received due to cannabis restrictions and laws. So there is some terminology and definitions with disproportionately impacted, but really quickly, what the program is used for: economic and business development, youth programming, job training, violence prevention events. It could also include economic development. I mentioned that zero entry and reentry programs or youth programming, financial assistance. And I want to hone in quickly on the disproportionately impacted communities and individuals and what we mean by that. So your programming and events or services that you provide, we're looking for people who are able to, just adding a couple more people to our waiting room. So a disproportionately impacted community is a specific map that the state of Illinois put together based on conviction rates, socioeconomic statuses, and variations of that sort, putting it together in an equation, and they came up with certain census tracts that show what communities and what areas of our community specifically are deemed disproportionately impacted, specifically for programs that support individuals or families. These are individuals or family members who prior to January 13th of 2021 were arrested, convicted, or had other offenses that are eligible for expungement under the Illinois Cannabis Regulation Act. So once cannabis was legalized, the expungements that associated with that. So that is just a very quick high level of the eligibility and what the grant is set up for. Today, we're going to mainly talk about, I'm going to walk you through the online application portal, sorry, which is the whole meat of everything. This is where you get to share your story and really tell us what you would be using these funds for, and the individuals or community that you're providing these services to. So you do have to be within the city of Rockford. Same with those that you are providing support for. I'm going to jump into our online portal and show you what that looks like. If you have not already, you will be able to select here. You'll click apply here, and it will take you, and I think I'm already logged in. There we go. It will take you to this portal. This is our neighborly portal where all of the applications that the City of Rockford Community and Economic Development Department that we put together is usually through this portal. So you will want to go to the REGROW grant program down here. Again, it expires or closes October 22nd. So you'll start application. You'll put in your first and last name. You can also enter in your organization. So I'll do City of Rockford, and this is my test. Okay. So I am going to get started. The very first question is pretty simple. Just click the link to get started. Here is another overview. It will take you, showing you another overview of the programming that this grant is looking for. Again, everything will be scored and reviewed by the Community Relations Commission, and we will also take a look at that scoring rubric with you at the end. Complete and continue after you have read that, and it will take you into the application information. The agency organization that is putting this event together or program that is applying, the main office. I'm just going to use test here, make it quick. Your tax ID number. Doesn't like that. Okay. Are you a 501c3? Yes or no? You do not have to be a 501c3 to apply. We can just mark yes for this. Are you in good standing with the state? Mark yes or no. Who is the primary contact? So if that would be you, this is the person that will also be responsible for, if you're selected, for submitting the reporting. And at the end, I'll also show you, you can add more people if you're selected to help utilize this platform. All right. Moving through here. I'll just put my email. Save and complete. All of that has been entered. There's a good question about if there is an interactive map. I can make sure that the website, oh, see, I need to put in that we're in Rockford, Illinois. Okay. There is an interactive map that we can utilize. I'll pull that up in a minute for you. I think once we get to there will be a question. So at that time, I'll go ahead and switch out. Put in your applicant project, the title of your project. This B2 description of your project, the what, the who, the why, and the how. This is where a bulk of your information is going to go. This is what's going to help elaborate on the programming that you use. There will be an additional area, we'll see up here, to enter in who your target neighborhood, community, individuals, who's receiving the support through these programs. So start date, we'll go ahead and put that maybe November 1st, or I'll put the 10th, is going to be the start date tentatively of the program. I'm saying it's about a 6-month-long program. Requesting $10,000. You would fill in the target areas, who you're providing service and support to, and why. If your program is different from where your main office is located, you can enter in that address here. Enter in Rockford. Here is the map. So I just clicked that interactive map and it takes you to, and this again is in the Neighborly application. So, So I scrolled into Rockford and I'll show you what those boundaries are. So going up north, going into Loves Park even. So it goes past Riverside. Here's North Central is kind of a western border down to Auburn and back west to Meridian. And that border goes down to 20. Following that, let me zoom out and then I'll zoom back in. So we do see the pockets that it does bypass. But so it is interactive, which is nice. So as you're in the application, you can click on that link to that question. And so this link, and it'll take you to that map and you can zoom in to see where your project, your program address is located. And if you're providing support to a community, making sure that it is within that boundary. All right, so if you are within that, then you would select yes or no. To demonstrate your reasonable work plan, this is the next question. So we're wanting to know how you plan to utilize this and to make sure that you're adding you're thinking through your grant project. So what are some of the necessary steps? You could put in, maybe there's phases to your program. And so the first phase would be from, we'll say, January to May. You could put in, there would be about $2,000 for that item and expected outcomes of, maybe this is an event. And so we were planning to have 3,000 people. That might be a little high, but I'm just going to put that in there. And then anything else you might want to add. You can add as many rows as you want to show, okay, here from step A through step Z, we're going to be doing this and this to expend all the money we're looking to request. Okay, I'm going to, for simplicity, just put all 10,000 right here and see if it'll let me complete and continue. Again, we're just moving through this pretty quickly so you can see that it is relatively simple to participate, to utilize this online system. Financial capacity. This is where the city is wanting to get a better understanding. Do you have any background with working with grants? What type of financial system does your organization use? Have you had any audits in the system? If you're a very small organization, it's possible that you haven't had an independent or professional audit performed. So indicate that. We are requiring, so if you have had an audit, what was that date? What was the date it was performed? So perhaps it was in the middle of the year for 2023 because it covered all of 2023, or it was in the middle of the year of 24. And when you have an audit, did it come back with any findings? If it was yes, then we would ask for you to summarize that. Please explain if the audit's more than 2 years old. So even if you didn't have one the last year, indicate when you did have an audit performed. Okay, I'm just gonna mark this. And if you had any findings, we are requiring that you upload either your independent financial audit or a year-to-date budget versus actuals. We want to be able to see what your organization is budgeting and what those expenses and income, what that is looking like in real terms throughout the year. So you'll be able to upload there. And I will have to upload a document. Let me do just this one quick. So I uploaded my document. It shows, oh, she uploaded some actuals. Staff members, so you will list those who are going to be responsible for helping to administer this grant. Oh, can't spell my own name. Do they have experience working with any grants? Just be honest and answer that as you can. So this is housing related. That is a little more specific. It's more of a moot point, so you can do NA or yes or no if you have housing related programs, initiatives. And maybe you have, I'll just put some of the stuff I do here. So CDBG related programs or home, but you can add as many people in as you need. All right. Collaborators. This is an important part if your organization is going to be working with other entities for this project or program that you're applying for. Good question. Yes, you can also, if you're a volunteer organization, I'm on a board for one that has no staff. So yes, I would put in who the volunteers are that are overseeing this if you don't have staff members. So you would fill this in the same way. Great question. Thanks. All right, collaborators. So again, that's where you would enter all of those. We are asking anyone who has a collaboration with another entity, we are wanting letters of support from each of those collaborating organizations. So if it's you'll have one organization that is the applicant. You'll list your collaborators here. And then at the end, I will show you where there will be a spot for you to upload multiple and as many letters of support as you need. If you indicate that you have a collaborator, we do want to see that letter of support added later on. All righty. So this is somewhat similar to before, completing any programs managed. Oh, it's not similar before, sorry, managed by the organization. So do you have any grants currently open? Maybe you have some through the state, or I'm part of an organization that had received some money from Illinois Humanities, perhaps. Oh, that would go the source of the funding. Now, the information I'm putting in is not an example that would be relevant for regrow. I'm just, so this is some barn stabilization for a various nonprofit, but so we can put in test actually. The date that that program or initiative occurred. So it could have been ultimately the date it was awarded and how much was received for that. How much of that grant amount has been funded or expended. So how much has been used that we received? Maybe you received 2,500 and you have used all of it. And then you would enter in the outcomes from that grant. If you have multiple, you don't need, just be as thorough as you can. Oh, and I'm going to take back everything I just said. So this is specific to the city of Rockford. Thank you so much for your patience. So this question, C4, I keep getting all my stuff mixed up. So this question is related to the city of Rockford. Do you have any open grants through the city? And this is where you would indicate that. So if you aren't sure, then you probably don't. But there could have been options there. So if you do have anything through the city, you can put that. Does your organization manage compliance for grant, or how does your organization manage compliance? You would add a description of what you do to make sure you're staying compliant with grants or any funds you receive. So you would put in that description. Do you have any findings or concerns with those grants? If yes, then it'll have you enter in. This is similar to before. This is what I was thinking of. This is similar to before of findings and concerns based on audits or other grants that you're now working with. So you can add that. Otherwise, if not, this may not apply to you, but please choose what laws and or regulations your organization has experienced managing. Section 3 for some trades, prevailing wage. If you have experience dealing with historical preservation for your grant funds. So this is a large list, but there's also an option for other. And if none, then none. So we can do other, and then provide a description. Any additional information to help explain your capacity, or maybe to fill in some gaps if you haven't had audits or some things done, this would be a good place for you to explain your capacity with managing grant funds. All right, that is a bulk of that. It did not like one of my answers. That's right. So if you don't have any collaborators, or if it's not letting you move on, you can just do NA or none. All right. That was the capacity piece. What accounting system does your organization utilize? Some people may utilize QuickBooks. Others maybe utilize Excel, or there may be something more robust, or anything in the middle, but indicate what your organization utilizes. And can it delineate those funds? So ultimately show what everything is being expended for. And do you have experience working with programs and or software that's required to manage the grant? And you can just answer that as well. If yes, then you'll elaborate on the various experience that you have with the programs. Again, not a requirement. This is just to gauge where your organization is in terms of capacity or knowledge of grants and grant funding. So that's a very quick section. Okay, this is where you will enter in your budget items for what you're proposing. Maybe there's if it is a violence prevention event, maybe you'll have some marketing needs and fill that in as to what that would entail. I'm just going to do some rough numbers here. And we'll just fill this in quickly for other items that might be for this violence prevention, event. we'll just get some other things. We need 1,500 more because we earlier in the application, we did say we were wanting to request $10,000. Is the same, looking at a question, is the same for the as a work plan? Yes, same as the work. It's similar to the work plan. This is just really going into high level. Here's our budget categories for the grant. So it is somewhat duplicative. But that is the first question where you were entering in some estimated costs and the dates is thinking through more of, again, that work plan. This is more budget high level. So there might be some duplicates, which you can just see what you had done in that previous section. Make sure this totals the amount we want to fill in. Okay, so we see that we're requesting 10,000 there. Describe your process for procuring third-party vendors. So if you're utilizing subcontractors or hiring to have services assisted with, we just want to get a little background of how do you vet those or make sure that they're going to follow their end of the project that they're working on with you. And then specific steps to ensure that everything that you're expending, all the money you're utilizing for this grant is reasonable. Good question on direct and indirect costs. We'll get to that a little bit more specifically. I'll pull back up some grant guidelines for you. But yes, yeah, some indirect costs can be utilized. Okay. This is the area I mentioned before where you can upload letters of support. I'm just going to select a document. And you can add more than one, so you could enter in another. Your board of directors, so you could upload that. Just again, give us an idea of your organization, who's involved, and to give that bigger picture. Staff organizational chart, that may be for some same as your list of board of directors. And then an itemized budget if you wanted to go into further detail from what you entered in the previous page and you wanted to add a more detailed itemized budget, you can do that here. So that is all I'm going to upload for now. I'm not going to add the list. In this example, I'm going to say I don't have a board of directors. This last page is now here where you will certify and then submit. So you'll review all of these statements. It won't submit the application unless you do read and certify all of these. So go ahead and take time to go through that. Your first and last name, or whoever is submitting this, because they will be the people also, again, submitting the reports at the end. Now, I'm not going to go over what does the reporting side look like. That will be at a later date for the selected recipients. And no facts. So let's see here. And we'll put today's date. Click to electronically sign. Okay. Before you hit complete and submit, once you hit complete and submit on this, it will send it, it'll close your end of the portal. And you will not be able to go in and edit it unless you give us a call. We can reopen it up until the 22nd and let you get back in there. So you can hit save. Say you want to just double check before you go back in, you can hit save, click confirm, and it's still available for you to complete and submit. So you can go back in to any of these other portions and update as needed, I believe so. It should if you have problems and it did not let you, it actually might not let. If you get to that point and you're not able to get back in, if you're unsure, you don't know if you're 100% ready to fully submit, always then just click save instead of complete and continue. You can always do that part later, but then I would have to go in and reopen that for you, it looks like. So, I won't be able to get to this applicant certification and submit because I currently don't have my applicant's project recompleted. Let's complete. If you do a lot with grants, especially federal grants, this is not quite as stringent per se. But we do just want to make sure that so I proceeded and completed and submitted. We do want to make sure that all of the expenses are allowable. So I'll pull back up. So it shows application submitted. Thank you for completing your City of Rockford REGROW application. And here's the best email to reach out to. I'll put my phone number back up at the end. I'm gonna stop sharing that screen and go back to the guidelines and we'll look at the allowable costs quickly. Hey, scrolling through fast, sorry, okay. So the program eligibility, again, community-based organizations, profit, nonprofit. Again, we encourage collaborations, not required. If you do have a collaboration with another entity again, don't forget to submit a letter of support with it. I also will make sure to go over the rubric with you. Work requirements. So if you are selected, you will be required monthly to submit your expense reports. So if you're selected and get the grant funds, you will have to submit any of the funds, like copies of receipts, an Excel sheet of the grant funds that you have utilized so far, which is why being able to have a system, whether it's Excel or QuickBooks or something more robust to track your expenses and as that's done is important. Again, place of activity within the city of Rockford. More specifically, if it's a community event, then that it is within, or program that is within the disproportionately impacted community map, which there's that link in the application. So this is activities, efforts, allowable costs, activities, efforts, and materials needed for the performance of the grant, program, and project. Could be so not eligible would be for the specific advancement or promotion of your business or organization. It does have to come back to the program and project. So the indirect costs, if it is tied to the actual project, it's a deliverable to that, then it is allowable. Unallowable costs would be political activities, cannabis inventory, purchase of alcoholic beverages, real estate, some general capital may not be. So a lot of it will depend on your project that you're applying for. Let me get pulled up quickly I could have kept that open. The rubric, and we'll just quickly look at that, and then that will be about it for this. Okay. Here is the rubric. It is out of 100 points online. We may have updated. I think we had an extra question and then my math didn't fully add up, but this is the updated. So out of 100 points, we're looking at your leadership team, the community impact your program or event will have, the innovation around it, and is it sustainable, the sustainability of your event. So quickly we're looking, do you have experience implementing projects? What you're proposing to do, are you showing that it's feasible? Your ability to manage the project and the funds within. And also we do want to see that your leadership team has equity and is diversified. Community impact. If it has to be within the disproportionately impacted area or involving disproportionately impacted individuals, so those who have convictions that have been expunged or are expungible prior to January of 21. Demonstrate your location, so making sure that you're listing where you are and who your audience is going to be. Providing that project summary is a big portion, and the timeline. So showing that this is what we're looking to do, and we will accomplish that goal because we have laid out A, B, and C of what we need to do that, and this is when we'll be doing that. Letters of support that are included. And then sustainability, providing your budget, that will be a component that, again, the CRC, Community Relations Commission, will be using this rubric to grade your applications, or to score the applications, I should say. Is the budget reasonable? And do you have any supporting documents? If you you can certainly in that documents page in the grant add more documents, then maybe it doesn't fit the heading. That's okay. Let's see. The amount of funds requested. Perhaps you're only requesting the 10,000, but you know your project or program is more than that. You can let us know that as well. So this is a question related to that. And a plan for continuous development. Is this a one-time event that will only happen because of this grant, or is it something that you're going to be able to continuously do? So that's just a quick overview of the rubric. I will see if I can go ahead and allow for any other questions. Go ahead if you want to add any other questions to the chat that maybe we haven't gone over. So a good question. How much of this application process will be the same for the larger? It is going to be very similar. The tier 1 and the tier 2 application process is similar. When CRC is looking and scoring those applications, that's when they will be a little more stringent on the explanations that you're giving, especially when it comes to the budgeting amounts. I think there will be some tweaks and additional questions for that tier 2 application. So yeah. Okay. I think, all right. Anything else? This recording will be posted on the website. The phone number that is, I'll pull that up. The phone number that is on the REGROW page will come directly to me. So question, do all clients served by the program have to live in the eligible area? So that's a good question. This is one of the nuances. It will depend. So if it is a community focused project, then it does have to be within that map. If you are providing services, maybe you provide reentry services to individuals, then they are individuals who either are within the map or have expungible convictions related to cannabis. So it kind of varies. Does the city have a monthly report document? So we do have a monthly Excel expense report that we would share with you along with it will all reporting will be through this neighborly portal as well. If you have received the REGROW grant in the past, it did not go through this portal. So that is a new aspect. And the reporting will be able to be done in there also. So to just upload the receipts and the Excel file with the report, the list of the expenses. Another question, if you have a grant already with others, do you put those down as well? So we're really looking at how our question is worded is more of any grants that you have with the city. So to that question, Janine, you can add in, if you would like, the other grants to show that we have experience working with grants. But you do not necessarily have to for that. Let's see, make sure if I missed anybody else. Again, you can certainly call me. Oh, I was going to pull up the webpage for you. Let's go to, hold on one moment. So you can see the phone number. So again, here's the contact information that most of you had already seen, but phone number, this will come directly to me. Again, my name is Jocelyn McLaughlin. I'm the fiscal coordinator for economic development, or you can certainly email any questions to regrow@rockfordil.gov. I will check the chat one more, but I think other than that, if you don't have any other questions, thank you all so much for joining us today. I look forward to seeing more and more of the applications that are coming through. The Community Relations Commission will be meeting in November to go over those. So they'll start scoring those after the 22nd. And then on November 14th, I can actually pull up a timeline for you. On November 14th is when they will start. They will have those, they will vote for the Tier 1 recipients. After November 14th, the Community Relations Commission will submit their recommendations to the Finance and Personnel Committee. From there, the committee will then have to submit it to City Council for their final and official vote. And if all goes to plan, then that is when we would start to work on awarding shortly thereafter, before the end of the year, to get those grant funds into your hands. With that, again, thank you so much for joining me today and learning more about the REGROW grant and also the online portal. And feel free to reach out. I'll put the phone number here if you have any questions, okay? Thank you, and you all have a wonderful day.